right, I'm here at Direct Line Media. Thanks to my friend Dave. This is episode 9. I have a wonderful guest. I'd just like to reflect back on episode 8. A good friend of mine, Steve Famiglietti. He was inspirational. It was an educational podcast. I learned so much about him. He is definitely a positive person. He has the world of possibilities. He does not let his disability affect his life. He chases storms. He's just a wonderful person, and I have a little show and tell. He was graciously donated $100 at the end of the episode, and he said I can share. This is there's bumps on this check, as you can see, and it's enlarged because of his visual impairment. And he knows where to write the lines, where he feels where he needs to write. As you can see, his signature. I joke with him. It took him like three tries. The pen wasn't working. But again, inspirational, great guy. Episode 8, check it out. And I'm here. Episode 9 is going to be pretty inspirational too. Episode 9. My man Rick, Dr. Rick.
Great.
How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing awesome. I'm Rick Araya. Yep. Sometimes I make jokes for identification purposes to not confuse me with all the other Ricks who are misbehaving themselves on the planet. I'll be Dr. Rick just so you know who I am. But when all our friends, it's just Rick.
Rick.
Yeah, I like it. I still like it best when my family calls me Ricky.
Oh, all right.
It's funny. I hear my nieces and nephew call me Uncle Ricky, and I say, "Oh man, I love that somebody still remembers that I was youthful and fun once too."
The old family nickname. That's cool.
Awesome. Yeah,
I'm Uncle E.
Yeah.
Uncle E is really cool.
Yeah.
I want to shout out the shirt.
Oh, right.
This is Keep Smiling shirt, Dr. Rick.
We started doing some Keep Smiling shirts. So the springtime was kind of a down time, right? The world was a little getting dark. And we had a couple of weeks in the practice where no one was coming. People were afraid to leave. Remember, stay safe, stay home. And then the governor said that the chiropractors were essential. And I watched the chiropractic blogs. The guys all said, you going in, you staying home. And I said, the governor said, you're essential, man. Get to work. Be essential. And it was interesting because nobody wanted to go to the hospitals. So people with they were carrying people in for a couple of weeks. They were coming to us instead of the emergency rooms. And I noticed that I felt my energy going down. And I said, well, nobody really wants to hear my opinion, and I'm not that kind of a doctor. I really thought the only thing I had to bring to the equation was attitude and energy. And traditionally, chiropractic, the keep smiling is a chiropractic thing. Okay. There was a time where there were dark ages for chiropractic, where chiropractors were great guys doing their stuff, but there were battles going on with the medical establishment, and was chiropractic supposed to be there or not? And there was chiropractors who were literally going to jail for standing up for their right to practice chiropractic. And they would say, hey, where's the medicine? We're not practicing medicine, we're practicing chiropractic. Nobody owns healthcare, and we're not going to stop doing what we do. So the chiropractors would literally get arrested, go to jail, and then bring the case to court and argue that they weren't practicing medicine without a license. And in those years, all the way from the 30s to the 70s, 1972, Louisiana got its first licensing. You could be arrested for practicing medicine without a license as a chiropractor in 1971. Imagine, and chiropractic was invented in 1895. So they all had, I read all the old history, they call them green books, big fat old books from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And the Keep Smiling cards were a thing. You can look it up, chiropractic Keep Smiling cards. And that was the chiropractors, just keep smiling, just keep smiling. And so that got me, and I said, and we've been into smiley faces for a while, but we've been doing yellow smiley faces on the flags that fly outside the office. And the smiley face flags were, Eric and I met because I think we met when you had a dead battery in your car, didn't we? Yeah. So I have a big yellow FJ Cruiser, and we jump-started your car with it one time, a long time ago when the kids were
Bug
little.
School.
Yeah.
After a soccer practice.
And you were sitting out there all by yourself.
It's like, and what do I do?
What do I do? And I drove up. But good. So we switched. If I rode my bike to work, no one would come in. They say, where's the yellow truck? So I had to put out some yellow flags. And so the yellow flags turned into the smiley face, turned into the purple this year. And the traditional chiropractic purple Keep Smiling cards are still on the back of our cards.
Nice.
Keep smiling.
Keep smiling.
Keep smiling. And that's been it. Yeah. Attitude. If you've got the right attitude, a lot of other things happen. And the physiology, how you feel in your body and how your body heals when you're not in fear. and you don't feel sick and broken, and nobody tells you, we don't run our chiropractic through sickness, illness, and disease. We don't tell you how broken you are before we help you. In fact, if you tell you how broken you are, I say, hey, you're probably going to do great anyway. You've been and you've noticed.
Yeah.
So that's how we do it. The Keep Smiling thing has been all about spreading good attitude and energy, and we migrated a little bit into these.
Yep.
So
Love
we've been doing the smiley face, purple masks lately,
Gave
just
you
so
one.
I don't have to wear a purple T-shirt every day.
Yeah. No, you gave this
8
to
months
me.
later, 8 months later, it's a lot of purple T-shirts.
Yeah. No, I love that mantra, keep smiling. It's like, be a good friend, keep smiling. And then good quality shirt.
Hey, Dave at Fresh Ink.
Right? Good quality.
Dave
Fresh
at
ink.
Fresh Ink. Dave at Fresh Ink. Anything. He helped us with soccer this year. We had to do some special stuff to get soccer going, and Dave did all the uniforms. So Dave at Fresh Ink, local guy,
Friends of
great
Fresh
guy.
Ink, for sure. Friends of
Awesome.
Fresh Ink. He has done every T-shirt, sweatshirt that Friends of Feeney has ever done. He's on Park Road. Wonderful guy, family man, good dude. Again, cares about the community like you. Cares about the community, trying to help people. Dave's a good dude.
Awesome guy.
Thanks, Dave. Fresh Ink.
Yeah.
What about, we met. I was a soccer coach. So soccer got me from kindergarten to about second grade. After second grade, the soccer knowledge is no longer there. I know spread out, hustle, keep running. You gave me a great piece of advice for practice once. Instead of keeping a goalie in, you put a pole very low. And so the kids had to score under or over.
Yeah.
And take the goalie out and then have the kids more running.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gave me advice like no more than 3 in a line, make them games, make them friends. Yeah, I remember at Bugby School going, oh man, after a while it's like there's only so much of running, kicking the ball that you can do, and you kind of gave some advice, so that was awesome.
I love that. We did a little of that together in basketball later on too. You know that, so I have 3 daughters. I have a 20-year-old daughter. I'm very proud of her. She's
Girl dad,
right? 3 daughters. And my wife, of course. And my daughter, my oldest is 20. She's a junior at the University of Southern California. Smart
Nice.
kid, engineering major. I've got a 17-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old daughter. So when your kids are spaced out like that, you do it, and then you do it again, and then you do it again. So I think there was a total of, and my 13-year-old is still going. So I think there's a crazy number, like 28 soccer teams, 18, 20 basketball teams, 20 CCD classes, all those years
cool.
of doing it.
In your office, in your practice, you have all your basketball pictures.
And the soccer.
And there's Rick,
too,
young without gray hair, and then it
little
goes to gray hair.
now. Yeah, little gray hair.
Yeah, no, great coach. I mean, you get it done. You motivate your kids, and you have these techniques and practices that are great.
Well, it's funny. So we've coached against each other too. So usually the people I coach against is like, wait, I thought he was like nice and happy, and we coach intense, right?
Yeah,
So the kids play hard. The kids play
Keep
hard.
smiling. I don't know. Does that incorporate it when you're coaching?
I think you gotta remember. You gotta remember.
Yeah.
But I think that's all. I did have a mom. I had a mom recently, and I coach an AAU team. And I had a mom recently said to me, I said, your daughter has a lot of potential, great kid. And she says to me, I think she's got a lot of potential for other things besides sports. I said, oh, those of us who coach youth sports, we think it's the carryover. We're doing it not because we think your kid's going to dribble a basketball when they're 25 years old. Yeah. We do it because of this
cooperation,
the lessons,
teamwork,
and all the stuff. So I had to talk her back onto why we do it. But being around kids is amazing, though. Being around kids is amazing. And then the little kids come to the practice, and everybody from little babies to people in their 90s get adjusted. Everybody has a spine, and it's supposed to work right. And if that's how you're supposed to do it. So when the little kids come in, it's my favorite. You and I have to be in rapport when you come, but I have to be in rapport with your kids, and I have to be in rapport with your infant, and I have to be. And then when we're there together and doing it, you get a different result than just talk to parents and then do to kids. No, I have more fun with the kids. With kids.
No, that's the great thing about my job. Kids are always saying funny things. It's a new day every day. Some days it's field day. Some days we're gonna have a concert. Some days there's kids are having a rough day. Some kids are coming excited. It's great. It's like 17 years in education. You see something new every day.
Yeah, kids are awesome, and I think, and I mean, the things I've heard about your organization usually involve something to do with a kid.
Yeah. Yep. So my mission is to help children and families that have heartbreak or tragedy. I started it when one of my students' parents died, and you've been a sponsor, a big supporter. You've donated a donor, so thank you so much for your donation. You helped with a family in need at a time. I think it was when we had the house fire at Donut Crazy, a family that had a house fire, and we were raising money, and you were very gracious and generous. So thank you.
Yeah,
means a lot. Yeah,
keep me on the list.
Of course.
Well, because I think that what happens is if you hear that somebody has a need, then you want to help.
Yeah.
It's different to be in general, like to just donate to a fund or something. But if you hear this specific person has a this, that's kind of what I liked about what you said. That
I did notice when you put a face with it or a story with it, you're more likely to get donors instead of just, hey, give the Friends of Feeney. You're like, what's that? Well, we're helping a student that their father unexpectedly had a heart attack. We're having a father that was murdered in Hartford. We had a father that drowned at a state park. And it's like all these horrible tragedies that are happening to young people.
Yeah.
If you and I lose our dad, even at this point, it'd be heartbreaking, devastating, and just imagine yourself being 6, 7, 8, or 9. So we just try to help them out, make sure they can go to sports camp or buy school supplies or just something to get their mind off of it for a short time. So, thanks for...
Yeah, awesome.
And then, we started off being coaching rivals. And then, I had some back pain, getting older now, and I went to visit you. Sometimes you're on Talcott Road, so sometimes on my way to Home Depot, if I see the yellow flag, I'm like, I'm hitting Dr. Rick on the way home.
I make the joke, it's like somebody told me once upon a time, I suppose it's true, that if the Queen of England is in Buckingham Palace, then the flags are flying. If the Queen is not in the castle, the flags aren't flying.
Oh, wow.
So I make jokes. I say, I'm just like the Queen of England. If you drive by and the flags are flying, I'm in.
I didn't know that.
If you drive by and the flags aren't flying, I'm not there. So that's how we do it. The flags are out. And it became because everybody looks for that yellow truck.
Oh, yeah.
And if they saw the truck, they would come in. So the flags just tell you that we're there. And first thing we do when we get in is put out the flags.
I'll catch you around town sometimes. I'm like, oh, there's Dr. Rick.
The kids. I hear the stories. And that car's getting a little old. I've had it for 12 years.
Wow, yeah.
125,000 miles. It's doing great. But lots of times my wife says, just sell a car. I'm like, can't sell a car. I can't sell a car. We go to a basketball game on a Sunday morning at Conard, and there's they have church next door.
Yep.
Next thing you know, these 2 little kids are running up to me, Dr. Rick, Dr. Rick, Dr. Rick. And they're little kids. They saw the car. And they're from the practice, and they knew it was me.
Yeah,
so I got a bag of basketballs in one hand and a duff bag in the other, and these little kids are running up to say hi. So I don't know, I get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
I get a kick. And then my Alice says, for a while the kids are like, I'm embarrassed, you got this bright yellow car. And then my Alice says, I don't like being anonymous. Like if we drive my wife's car, we're anonymous. Nobody even knows it's us.
Waves.
We pull up and everybody waves and the crossing guards wave, and so I don't know. It's pretty nice. That's being part of the community for so many years.
Yeah. My daughters are like, hey, there's the guy that jumped our car when it died.
Do you know what I'm gonna tell you? So you're supposed to do everything you can to help every human being that comes across your path that needs your help. Every person.
I couldn't agree more.
Every person that you have the ability to help, you absolutely have to help them because it's you. And at times it's funny. That philosophy is funny. Do you know there was a year where I changed 8 flat tires in like 1 year? I'm like, I gotta go. And I'm looking up, Lord, this one's mine? Can't somebody else do this one? Yeah. And usually gals, usually dressed, and I would have said, I'll show you, I'll absolutely change, but you gotta watch me because I want you to know how to do it if you're ever stuck. So we would go and we'd change your tire. To the point where I thought I was gonna get one of those battery operated like NASCAR.
And you'd educate and teach while you're doing it. That's amazing.
You always got to do it. And then everybody you can help. And then I will brag one thing about my office. The old chiropractors. So I always hung around with old chiropractors. I went to chiropractic college in Los Angeles. So much that the people who were I first met, they said, where'd you guys move from? Well, we moved from LA. So a lot of people I met when we first came to West Hartford around 2000 said, oh, you're from LA. And I was like, so they still kind of hold that LA thought. We grew up in Connecticut. We went out to LA. My wife, Melanie, and I. But what would happen is, I went on to that story because...
being old or young. Old chiropractors.
Old chiropractors, thank you. So out in LA, there was a chiropractor, a lot of old chiropractors, but there was one chiropractor named Dr. Richard Gohl. Dr. Gohl had been a chiropractor since 1939, and I was with him in 1999. Okay. Old chiropractor. Now, by the way, 1939 is only 40 years removed from the beginning of chiropractic. And now we're 135 years removed from that. Awesome guy. Dr. Gold, he wouldn't tell you, he said, listen, if chiropractic is anything, I don't have to sell you on it. I don't have to scare you into wanting it. I don't have to tell you your spine's going to rot. I don't have to tell you how, all I got to do is show you what it is. Deliver the adjustment, let the adjustment stand on its own. The other thing that Dr. Gold did that a lot of the old chiropractors did, they put a box out. And people paid the box. And in the office, people pay the box. There's a box.
You have that.
We have a box. We've always had a box.
Dr. Gold gave you
Dr. Gold
this?
and the old chiropractors had a box. And people pay the box. So when they come in, you have fees. You don't have, the traditional guys didn't have anything. They didn't say a word. Pay what you want. Pay what you think it's worth. I always found that uncomfortable. Pay what you think it's worth. You got to give people a little bit of a guidance. But some chiropractors say, listen, it's worth $1 million, but you're not going to pay $1 million. Give me. So what we tell people, your normal fees, and we think they're pretty affordable. And then we say, but you can always pay what you can honestly afford. So I had a beautiful girl came in this morning, maybe 25 years old, and she's on the state insurance that doesn't tend to cover chiropractic. And it's great for other things, but doesn't cover chiropractic. So I look at her and I say, listen, this is what the fees are, and if you can, but you can always pay what you can honestly afford. I said, so you got to come as much as you need, and you have to pay what you can honestly do. And I say that to people every day, all day, no matter what they think they drove in, everybody can always pay what they can honestly afford. But you know what's funny? Then people get to choose to come. There's no obstacle. And if they choose to come, then what do you got? Yeah. An amazing
More
thing
likely to come.
Versus, hey, listen, you really need to come. If not, this bad thing's going to happen and that bad thing's going to happen. So then it's all based on positivity. It's not based, so we say we don't go into the darkness in the name of, motivating you to get to the light. It's just where you at. Well, let's show you what the thing is. I'm a mess. I said, never said it to one person. You're a beautiful, God made you mess that's designed to heal. But I'm not going to say how bad you are. I'm going to say, let's just see how you do. Lots of times you're going to surprise yourself how amazing it is and how amazing your body is to heal itself.
Yeah, that's funny that you said that you taught that woman how to change the tire, because I brought a buddy from school, and you have an education, a little, I want to say spiel, but like a presentation that you want to share with everyone first.
Yeah.
You have them, because I actually brought 2 or 3 people, so I've seen it 2 or 3 times. You have them stand up against the wall. You bring them over to the diagram. You point out some spinal things.
Yep.
And then you adjust them,
Yep.
which I joke and say crack. Let's get a cracking. Crack me, but you can't. That's an adjustment. That's offensive. I joke with you. And it's even cute. You have this cute little beautiful baby in the bathroom. It's like, I don't get cracked. I get adjusted.
Eggs get cracked.
Oh, eggs get cracked. That's what it is.
My friend Rob did that poster, but eggs get cracked, I get adjusted. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a mom thought twice since you're here. So I've got a mom who's 91 years old, a dad who's in his 80s. They're in Florida. My mom watches everything that I do.
She gonna
amazing.
Watch, will she watch the podcast?
Yeah, she'll watch the podcast. That's what I'm
All
saying.
right.
So what's up?
Hi, Mom.
I have a mom thought a lot. I got the best mom in the world. My dad is amazing. But it's funny. Yes. So we teach people. I was taught that doctor means teacher. It doesn't mean guy in the room who knows more than you. It means that if I know, then you should know something about your stuff. And so what we'll tell you is this is what we're looking for. A chiropractor is not a medical doctor. It's not a massage therapist. It's not a dentist. It's not an anything. Not all those things are awesome. But in the chiropractic approach, we say if we look to the spine and we find one or more vertebrae that are out of position with the one above and the one below, and I touch it, and I put my finger on it, I say, it needs to do this. You're going to say, yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? And then when I adjust you, you're going to change. Something's going to shift, and you're going to go, yeah. That's what it, yes. Yeah. Like if somebody pulls a splinter out of your finger.
Yeah.
You're going to say, I don't want you to pull it out. I don't want you to pull it. Oh, thanks for pulling it out. And I teach that that's normal. Normal. Get off the table after adjustment. Normal. That's how you're supposed to be walking around most of the time. And that's why sometimes
Hold on.
we got company. We got company.
She might pop in.
She might pop, yeah.
It's my neighbor. She works right next door. Sorry to cut you off. Sorry.
No, great. So what we want, that's normal. So we're trying to produce a slightly better or a slightly more working body so that your body can manifest and do what it's supposed to do and how you were designed.
And it's funny how you said it'll sell itself, because there one time I'm laying down. I was totally a skeptic. I was like, but somehow I went in to see you, and I lay flat, and you're like, oh, one of your legs is a little longer. And I've always had like hip issues or something, and you were like, oh, okay, this, and you wiggle the feet, and then you went, felt the vertebrae and, pushed or adjusted, and then you touched the legs again, and I felt my whole body shift.
Yeah.
It was like eye-opening. I joke with people, they're like, That's how I was bringing people. I'm like, listen, the world got brighter. I was taller. It was amazing. But
but that sounds goofy or funny or unscientific. But the reality is that something kind of opens up. Something opens up. It does feel like you can breathe a little easier. It feels like there's a different feeling. And it's supposed to.
And I had a crazy dream that night. It was like my first chiropractor session was. Yeah. And then you also suggested, which I never thought, and I suggest to everyone listening, don't sleep in the fetal. You don't want to sleep curled up, hunched. You want to sleep tall and extended. Yeah. So on my pillow now, I chin up and sleep tall. And I think that's really been helping my posture and spine too.
You remember
everyone wants to crunch up.
Crunch up. They want to crunch up. Dr. Gold said to me one day in the office, Rick, if we go, I say it in the office as much as I remember saying, if we go to Greece or Rome, everything with an arch in it is still standing.
Love it.
Everything that's straight up and down probably fell down 1,000 years ago. The beauty of the spine is in the arches. You're supposed to have a curve in your low back and a curve in your neck. And if you're down here and it's all reversed, when you were born as a baby, you were a C shape. Mm-hmm. All curled up. Then you came out, and as you developed, your head had to come up. Yeah. You had to lift your chest and watch babies sleep. They arch. What are they doing? Neurologically building those curves. So I make the joke that I think it's probably just a practical suggestion, but I say, when you're 100 years old, see, we're giving them a vision. I want to live to be 106 years old. When you're 100 years old, you'll thank me if I teach you how to be up here. If I teach you how to reach for your toes, I think gravity's already got that covered. I think the work is to what? Is to work on extension. And everybody says, yoga this. I love yoga. Yoga's great. But somehow in my mind, I said, maybe 2,000 years ago, everybody needed to bend forward for some reason. But now I think that we need to, with the phones and the computers and the everything, we should all be working on our up all the time, or at least a better neutral. I just
dropped your everything with arches is still standing on Christmas Day to my in-laws. Said it. I love that line. It's so true. Yeah. Hold on. This neighbor, do you want to come in? Say hi? My neighbor.
She's afraid of purple smiley.
Oh, you know her from soccer.
I probably do. I didn't recognize her.
Ed's wife.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's Cheryl?
Yeah. Cheryl, yes. She's my neighbor, lives on my street.
I didn't know she worked here, but she does say she drives by
101 Mobility right here next door.
I love
Great
it.
building.
I love
New
it.
Park. Come check it out. 485. You have the brewery. You have a vintage record shop. You have framing. You have direct line media.
Great building.
Hello, direct line media. Great building. It has that like New York City feel, vintage Brooklyn feel. No,
I like it.
That's just
I don't know.
me.
I've never been to Brooklyn, but I like it.
Yeah.
But I like it. The other one that everybody talks about is Dakota. So even on the website, so I've got a 12-year-old Australian Shepherd who's been in the office since she was a puppy. And she's kind of old now, but everybody remembers her from when she was little. And so I think that she's unique too.
You have a hilarious sign on the door when you first walk in too. It's like, beware of Dakota, you may have to step over her. And she's like right there in front of the doorway.
I think when people first put their masks on, right? We got our space going here, but when they first put their masks, nobody could see down. And we got something about that, and we couldn't. People were literally tripping over her. So one of the gals who worked in the office. I usually have high school girls who work in the office. A couple hours, it's not a lot of hours, but I feel like, again, it's more coaching. Young people, teach them what to do. They kind of graduate and move on, but they all come back to get adjusted. And when they're home in school, they ask, can they work? Or if I'm, short people, I got a long list of people that can work. Nice. But I usually get them around sophomore year. I keep them until they go to school, and there's usually 2 or 3 of them running around. So be patient, but they're usually pretty awesome.
Always good kids in there. Like friendly when I get there. They clean up their area when they're supposed to. Good kids.
Yeah, that's been the COVID thing, is that we just started. Every doctor's office, they didn't used to spray tables. They had the big roll of paper, and it went from the top to the bottom, and they changed it with everybody that comes in. Yep. Now, especially in the beginning, it was all about surfaces. So we spray everything. Every 30 minutes, everybody hits all the touch points in the credit card machine, and you have all the stuff. But we spray that whole table down, and I laugh and think, I can't wait for the day where we could just move the paper and everybody will be satisfied with that, because we're not so afraid as like we were. But we're doing it. We've been following guidelines since March. We were open when everybody was closed because we were on the essentials list. And if you believe in what you do and you think it's important, sometimes people tease me and say, you closed for the holiday? And I go, hospital's closed? And they go, but they're, and I go, don't say it. If you really believe in what you do, you want to deliver it for people. You don't want to shut it down. So I laugh. And so sometimes people say, I'm so bad. This isn't going to work. I'm this. I'm like, listen, if there's one guy in the room who has the faith, confidence, and belief in what he does, who's been seeing it for 20 years work over and over, why wouldn't it work for you? So it'll remain to be seen, but I'm usually a little optimistic because I usually see it work, right? I don't usually see it not work. Yeah.
No, you're there a lot. That yellow flag is flying. And
steady anyway.
I went once, and your partner, your coworker, or I don't know.
We call him associate.
Associate. She was wonderful. Knew it. I left feeling great. So
I'm going to brag about Dr. Witherspoon. So Dr. Witherspoon's been a chiropractor about 15 years. She has a practice in downtown Hartford. I've known her for years. She's got a beautiful disposition. She's like an Alabama person. She happens to be one of two that I know of, two African-American chiropractors in the state of Connecticut, and female. And I am aware that all the things we talk about these days, that we need to see people of all shapes and sizes and colors doing lots of things. So to have an African-American female chiropractor means a lot. Woman.
Yep.
To the girls who come in, I can be a chiropractor, not just Dr. Rick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that my office is really multicultural.
Agreed.
So I speak Spanish. I didn't always speak Spanish, but
which is amazing to me because you were flipping Spanish so well, like perfect, fluent.
I was born in Chile, but I grew up in a town called New Milford, Connecticut. No Spanish people. I have two older brothers, no Spanish. My oldest kind of understands. He's going to watch and be mad at me, but he won't converse with me, so I don't know. My middle brother, no, right? And then, so a lot of work to be able to speak Spanish if you didn't do it. I mean, there's kids who went to school my oldest daughter does great, and it was all West Hartford schools, but not us. But my Spanish is good. We get a lot of Brazilian people. So I fake Portuguese, but I can understand everything they say. Hey, listen, it's really easy to speak Portuguese. Let me tell you how. For 25 years, I only understood 60% of what the Spanish people were saying to me. It's the same in Portuguese. I understand about 60% of what they're saying, and you have to figure out the rest. So a lot of Brazilian people come, but I had some really Polish people yesterday. I get people from, and you just find a way.
I was there, you had someone from India, and the mom brought the son, and you were like, dude, you got to get out and walk a little bit. And you were communicating perfect with them too. Like, obviously your job.
You can hand signals.
Yeah.
You just find a way, whatever it is. Yeah. The hardest one recently, I did have a lady from Iraq with no English.
Oh, it might
I
have been
couldn't find the common language was a little hard, but we did find it.
No, but Witherspoon was wonderful. I walked in, and she knew exactly pretty much the same thing. Back, adjustment, side, leg
Doc's
over.
Great. Doc's great.
Very friendly, very cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, I
think that might be mine, but
maybe
maybe
mine?
I'll stop, yeah.
Is that Doc?
So she's great. So, and some people, she goes in every Tuesday morning. I'm not there, it gives me an extra day, and then when I go away, there's somebody who everybody's a little bit familiar with, so it's not just a stranger. I just don't want it to be same idea. We don't want you to go and have a closed locked door.
Okay.
I want somebody to be there so that if you,
And you mentioned Dr. Goal, or you're an educator, you're a teacher. Do you have a favorite teacher or educator you want to talk about?
I know you guys. I had great teachers growing up. I went to Catholic school as a kid. I went to Catholic high school. I went to Fairfield University, Catholic University. So I grew up. Religion was a big thing for me, and there's a little bit of an undertone in my place. Like if you look up, there's a couple of things that are religious up on my walls, and I've got a brother who's a born again Christian. I think they wear it on their sleeve a little bit more. But I believe, I'll say to people all day long, God made us really good. We don't have to feel like we were made wrong or broken. Mm-hmm. You do great, Mm-hmm. Or I'll say, if your body just works how God designed it, man, you're going to do really good. And I try to be a little bit not shy about doing that, even though everybody's a little bit shy about using religious things. Yeah. But I kind of decided if that's who I am, that's who I am. Before COVID, I honestly go to Mass almost every morning.
Oh, wow.
Almost every morning.
At St. Peter's? Because I see you at St. Peter's.
It's on Sundays, but the morning Mass, we have a lot of churches in town, so people will see my car outside the churches.
You bounce around at different ones?
Well, because there's a 7 a.m. at St. Peter's, there's a 7:30 at St. Tim's, there's an 8 o'clock at St. Thomas, there's an 8:30 at St. Bridget's, there's a 9 o'clock at St. Mark's. So Mass in the mornings, maybe half an hour. But if I used to, I've always done a ton of meditation, I've done a ton of yoga, a lot of that stuff, kind of ton of breathing, all those things I did for years as kind of being a healthy person trying to be in a great space.
No, I wasn't joking that this one's going to be inspirational, because sometimes I go for an adjustment, but you also give life advice.
Yeah, the cards,
suggestions.
The cards usually. I must have missed it on the last round, but usually they say chiropractor and health coach.
Yeah.
Chiropractor, chiropractor and health coach, because we're always kind of, it's a pep talk and an adjustment. It's a pep talk and an adjustment, and you need a little bit of guidance and a little bit of something to keep you going. I think that's big.
Oh, it's good that you're definitely an educator, a teacher.
And I always had great, awesome teachers. I thought,
Does one stand out?
I thought Mr. Salado in the 8th grade was amazing. And you know what? Because he really, 8th grade is still pretty young right now, but then he was talking about, man, you guys are pretty close to growing. And he made you take responsibility for yourself, that transition year where it wasn't really about how you're going to get grades in high school.
Yeah.
It was, you're becoming a man, and this is what it means to be a responsible citizen of the planet. And I
love how you started introducing them there about your positive relationship, your rapport. You still haven't even talked about what subject, but it's just that relationship.
Yeah, it was a relationship.
Personal connection and teaching you towards the future and life.
I thought there was something there where we just shifted us.
What subject?
That was one of those things where you had 3 teachers and they all taught you 2 or you 2 or 3. And I still think about him a lot. And
what's his name?
John Salado.
John Salado.
John Salado was a good guy.
Are you still in contact? Is he still around?
No, but I think I might be able to find him. But I remember he was a big Yankee fan in the late 70s because he named his kid was Tommy John.
Oh,
so,
wow. That's a huge fan.
Yeah. Well, the joke was his name is Mr. Salado, and his father said he'd give him $100 if he named his kid Otto. So Otto Salado. But he didn't do it. He went with Tommy John instead. But great guy. And I feel like I always had teachers. I'm a learner. I'm still intellectually curious.
Yep.
I read a ton. I'm a 7 books at the same time guy.
Oh, wow.
Like at the night table, and I have too many books. I asked my wife. I've given away a lot of them, but what I do is I remember ideas in books, and I'll go back and I'll look for those ideas. I say, what was that? And I'll look for the sentence in a book, and I'll try to say, because it was it's almost like a title of a book. There's a book usually only has, in my opinion, a really good book, if it has 10 chapters, might have 5 original thoughts. And then they write books. A lot of times it's in chapter 1. And if there's an idea, like that's why you can't judge a book by its title, but if you like the title, there's at least one thing in there for you. And sometimes I feel like I need stuff, and I'll go grab those books out of my books, and I'll carry those around with me for a while and start working on them. And that gets me, let's say, organized, or that gets me connected, or that gets me doing my, like this, last week I pulled out Shakti Gwain's Creative Visualization, which is a classic. And I started reading some chapters so I can create my day in my mind and where I'm headed using her techniques. So there's things over the years where I say, but that lifelong learner curiosity, that was a product. I was a believer in that well-rounded education. I know we don't always teach that now, but if you were good at your reading, writing, arithmetic, and you did all your studies, that's what I did at Fairfield. I thought it was that nice liberal arts education was good for me as a human being. I didn't decide to be a chiropractor until I was in my 20s. I had done a master's degree in nutrition, and all the guys in the room, a bunch of guys in the rooms were chiropractors. They knew the answer to every question. The chiropractors knew everything about the human body, all the anatomy, how it worked, everything that came up. I'm like, these chiropractors freaking know everything. What's going on? And I said to my wife, I want to be a chiropractor. And she said, well, go. And we were doing the master's degree together nights and weekends. I said, no, we got to go. And she was, what do you mean? I said, we got to sell the house. We got to move. We got to do it. And so we did. We moved out to LA.
Oh, wow. For the chiropractic?
For the chiropractic.
Does she have that too?
No, she's got her own master's degree, and she was mom for a long time, taught a lot of yoga for a long time. Every now and then somebody says something about yoga, I laugh. We were out in the New Mexico desert with the whole group around Yogi Bhajan one summer around summer solstice, 120 degrees, 10 days in the desert, just doing yoga night and day. So I laugh every time I see the little yoga tea in the store. I'm like, turn it around. That's Yogi Bhajan. So we had a great time with a lot of wonderful practices. We had 6 months where we grew all our own food except rice. A lot of kind of 28 years of being all about trying to be healthy and positive. Pretty cool stuff. A lot of fun.
Definitely, you carry that positivity everywhere.
Yeah, the other one doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't, I don't know how to do it. I can be a critical thinker. Like I say, I disagree with things. But like when it comes down to it, if I got to get anything done, you got to try to find a way to do it in a good, strong, heavy way.
3 ways, if you were to suggest to someone that they want to be a chiropractor, 3 suggestions.
Yeah.
If you were to give advice to someone, what are the 3?
Well, first of all, you got to love people.
Yep.
Because it's all about serving. See, so if you go to a chiropractor's practice, you'll know right away, is the practice serving the chiropractor, or is the practice serving the people? So if you're all about helping others, right? So when I'm not trying to be, make myself sound saintly or something, but literally, you talk about some people who come from foreign countries. I had an experience. There was a little boy. Watch this, really fun. There was a little boy who came in, and he had some developmental things, right? And his uncle was here, and his sister was visiting, and the little boy. And I knew culturally the adults wanted us to talk, and the little boy was supposed to be in the background. And I knew I had to end up good with that little boy because he's the one I needed to adjust. Mm-hmm. So I kept making friends with the boy. Then the boy wanted to be friends with me, so he kept coming over and standing in front of me. And the parents were like, no, go to the side. And at one point in this exchange, his shoe was untied. I'm not letting that little kid trip over his shoes. That was the worst. For me to go down there and tie that little boy's shoe wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. But for me, it was totally what I was supposed to be doing. So I don't have to be the doctor in the room. I have to be the servant in the room. So you have to love people and want to serve people.
That's a good one.
When you have a practice that serves others, huge. The other one is you got to get adjusted. There were people that I went to chiropractic college with who had never been adjusted. They just read about the profession in the book. So you have to go to a chiropractor and you have to get adjusted and you have to do things.
And who does your adjustment?
Hey, I'm really blessed. Everybody likes my policy. So I have no appointments and there's no gatekeeper. There's no person you call to make an appointment that has to let you in. So everybody knows what you know. If you want to come, those are the hours. If the flags are flying, come get adjusted. Chiropractors like that too. So I probably have a good 6 or 7 chiropractors that come every week to get adjusted.
And it's hilarious. Some days, if I go on a Friday, you're like, oh, those 3 people, those were chiropractors. So they'll come to you same way.
Yeah, and I get adjusted. So one of the chiropractors adjusts me.
And it's always like a barber. I want to know who's cutting the barber's hair because that's got to be a good barber to cut the barber's hair.
Where I don't like to be arguing about it. I think the adjustments are pretty good. All we do is adjust people. But I think, and I try to adapt for the chiropractors, just like I try to adapt to either what they do or what they like. So if I know they adjust their people a certain way, I use their technique on them if I can. And that usually gives them a little bit of satisfaction.
All right, so people, person, servant, 1.
Servant, get adjusted.
Oh, adjusted. Oh, yeah.
Got to get adjusted.
Practice what you preach.
Because, you got to, And I like that next step. Yeah, make sure you're all about health and wellness. And for me, I think that's what, that sets chiropractic apart. As a chiropractor, there's an idea that a chiropractor is about health and wellness. There are chiropractors who just wait for your back to hurt and only adjust or work on the spot that hurts. I didn't learn it that way. I learned that you're a whole person, that it's holistic thinking, that if we can change the way your body's working, it won't hit that same exact spot. And if you're feeling it, it usually means a nerve's involved. And if we can change the dynamics of your body by making sure you're good here and in the middle and in your hips and your rest of you, and if we can train it into you a little bit in the beginning, and then later on, you just come to stay mostly pretty good most of the time. I like that. I have my percentage of people who just come when they're really, really bad. I was teasing a lady yesterday. I was like, so she does a lot of her own stuff and her own vitamins and her own things, and I massage it and I said, so if none of your stuff works for like a month, then you come? And she was like, yeah. I was like, can you come a little sooner?
Yeah, you've done that to me too. You're like, don't come when your back is hurting. Come.
Yeah, even if you just get a sense that I'm not okay is a little better than waiting for it to be full blown.
It's funny while you're talking, I'm trying to sit up all tall.
It's like, it's a thing.
Dad's watching. I got to sit up.
Well, and I know
got to get these arches.
People come in, and I'll say, "Hey, what's up?" And I see them straight up right away, and I laugh. I say, "Yeah, nobody swears in front of their priest, right? You got to stand up a little straight in front of your chiropractor."
All right, that's great advice.
Awesome stuff.
Get adjusted.
Absolutely, and so we, and then, I said something about 20 years. I've been a chiropractor about 20 years. Wow, it's pretty. You said 17 years for the teaching. 17 years. Wow. You start saying, wow, a long time. How long am I going to go? I'm 53, right? I love my daughter Alice is awesome. She's 13 now, but when she was little, so I always talked about living to be 106 years old. I read a study
Why
once,
106?
Well, because I read a study once that said the fastest growing age group was the people that are 100 centenarians, 100 years or older. Fastest growing age group. At the time that I read it, there was like 60,000 people 100 years or older, and they said that by the year 2050, right, there's going to be about 1 million people 100 years or older. So I said, if there's going to be 1 million people 100 years or older, I got to be on the list,
I want
right?
to be one of them.
I got to be on the list. But then I was like, I don't want to die at 100. I said, so I just picked the number 106. So, you know, my older daughters would say, you're old. Like I'm 50, 48, 49, 50 years old. And my little one, you know, the little ones are awesome. So she says, now she's 13, she says, he's not old. He's not even middle-aged till he's 53. So she had my 106 number in her head. So we'll see if I get there.
You're halfway there.
But the idea, yeah, but you know, they even the finance guys say, listen, you might live longer than you think. If you're not mentally prepared, right, for how long you might last, well, you got to kind of think, well, what happens if I don't just live to 78, right? And then the other part I thought that is a thing I remind myself, I really like being a chiropractor. I want to be a chiropractor. I want to adjust people, help people in this way. But you know, if a kid is coming straight out of school, they got no money, right? They have no experience. They just got out of school. You'll say, you can do anything you want, right? And that's our attitude towards youth. You can do anything you want. But when I was turning 50, I said, you know, I got a vision of, you know how you see those paintings and somebody x-rayed it, and underneath the masterpiece, there was another masterpiece? I'm going, I've got experience, you know, I've had businesses, I've done things in my life. I can paint another masterpiece on top of my masterpiece.
What do you got going? You want to throw us some ideas? What are you gonna do?
I'm a chiropractor right now.
Yeah.
But what I'll tell you is, but it fixed me. I'm not afraid to be able to create a great life. You do it the same way. And I have energy and I have enthusiasm. God gave me a lot of vitality. I can do anything that I want. Now I'm awesome because I'm choosing to do this. This isn't my I'm stuck thing. This is the I'm choosing
choice,
thing.
yeah. Passion project.
I think.
You're going to give a TED Talk? You got to give a TED Talk.
You know, there's a couple of things that you can absolutely talk about. I don't know. Some of the things, if I do anything that I think can help somebody, the things that are a little bit self-serving, I try not to do. I have to have enough confidence to be an awesome me, but I can't be Rick driven. It doesn't motivate me. But if I'm other driven, I can do it. I can summon the energy to do it for others. But you know, it's like parenting. Yeah. You may not do something for you, but you'll totally do it for your wife and kids.
100%.
So it's a little like that. If it involves, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I got to fix something about that. But for now,
write a book.
Hey, you know, and the books write themselves because again, I told you only need a few ideas, right? you only need a few ideas. And I have more than a few. I have some friends who wrote some great books as a chiropractor. I'd give it away. It'd be an ebook, and you could all have it, and it would tell you some of the things that I just said. I think the bigger. I'm still having fun. I got a 13-year-old. We're still coaching. COVID shut us down a little bit, but we coached some AAU basketball this summer.
She's still a point guard?
You know, Alice is a fun little athlete.
Lockdown defender,
She's
point guard.
Yeah, she's a little fun little athlete.
Still?
And it's fun to watch the kids. Yeah, she's very energetic. She's going to be embarrassed that I'm talking about her so much. She very energetic, very athletic. We went to the gym the other day, and we did her workout. One of my boys saw me and said, dude, she looked like she was smoking. I was like, yeah, a little bit. When you're a 13-year-old, right?
Yeah.
She's a great kid. That's her thing. She was playing on a couple soccer teams.
Like a hoop workout or like a weight workout?
No, weight workout, like sprints and
like
sprints and bars. And she's starting to do some squats. She had a knee thing. Her knee was dropping in, and one of the trainers showed it to her. So worked on her squat. She got it posted for on the Instagram of that training facility for how she fixed her form on some things. Great stuff. Imagine if the first time you ever touched a weight, somebody showed you how to do it perfect.
Oh yeah. And
you did that. You know, the rest of us were just throwing them ugly.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on, somebody said, "Try this," and we couldn't do it anymore. It was out of our groove. So I'm thrilled with.
Yeah, lifting you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Deadlifting or squatting.
Thrilled with the kids. Thrilled to still have kids in that age group. A lot of energy, a lot of fun, and I'm waiting for things to get better so that we can go back to doing a little of that for a little longer.
Very cool. And in every show, I want to throw out some Waterberry. You have a little ties to Waterberry.
Yeah, my mother, she's still watching. So my mother grew up. I got some Waterberry jokes, but you know, I told you before, I think. But I look Chilean maybe, right? But my mother's Lithuanian and French Canadian, but grew up in the Lithuanian section of Waterberry. We talked about that. And so my grandmother, and I think they're still praying for us, but my grandmother was in church all the time. and it was all St. Joseph's Church in the Waterberry section.
Lithuanian Mass?
The Lithuanian Mass and the Lithuanian section. My aunts lived down the street, and there was the bakery there.
Yeah.
So we spent a ton of leg of lamb dinners in St. Joseph's School in Waterberry.
I went to St. Joseph's School, kindergarten and first grade.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in that. We've been in the same building, but we used to do the leg of lamb suppers in the hall.
Nice.
And so
there's a bowling alley in the school. In the
That's basement, right?
Cool, yeah.
I was there too. I remember now. Yeah, very cool stuff.
And then the Lithuanian club was right down the street.
Yep.
My grandfather was a member.
Yeah, I wish that grandmother was still alive to ask, but I bet you we have a little bit of overlap.
Some sort of cross paths.
I met a Lithuanian guy one day, and he said, I recognized from the last name they all have, we're Stankises, but they're Petkitises and Sutkitises and all the Lithuanian names, right? And I said to guys, how Lithuanian are you? He goes, I'm so Lithuanian, my family goes to St. Joseph's Church in the Brooklyn section of Waterberry every Sunday. And I went, wow, man, that's pretty Lithuanian. And this is like July, I'm like brown as a bear, right? And I said to him, man, but by that criteria, I'm more Lithuanian than you. And he looks at me and he goes, how do you figure? I go, my grandmother irons the altar cloths for that church. So,
pretty good.
So that Waterbury thing is meaningful to me. Most of the generations moved to Watertown or moved away, but that's still a thought. And they moved the Lithuanian bakery to 84.
Yeah.
You can still get that, the black bread. I sent my mother some bread a while back from the Lithuanian bakery. Beautiful memories. Yeah. That town of Waterberry.
Good spot. Waterberry, born and raised. Forgot episode 8, Steve bought his clocks, his grandfather clocks in Waterberry.
Yeah. So
Waterberry. And now I know you had that connection too. It's great. It's the biggest, smallest city.
Yeah, I know that. I have lots of thoughts about which houses my grandmother lived in, and the cousins were all over there. Yeah, I spent a lot of time driving from New Milford to Waterbury. Thank goodness it wasn't so far, right? Yep. Yeah, 25 minutes.
Yeah,
we go the back way through Middlebury sometimes.
Oh, you go that way, yeah.
So great stuff. I watched your episodes. I watched some of your guests. I watched people doing stuff. I think it's amazing. I started at the beginning. I said, who's on?
Nice.
The ones that are online. So I thought, wow, I didn't know it was going to be visual. I thought podcast to me usually means just the audio, right?
Yeah.
So then you were talking about shirts and...
this is Dave from Direct Line Media. We don't play around.
We don't
this is
play
legit.
around. We don't play around.
No, yeah.
So I thought it was awesome. I love that you're doing what you do.
Thank you very much.
Yep, and I love that as you bring kind of other people in, it's more community oriented. We served on a soccer board together for a while. All kinds of little
just gotta be involved.
In the community that you can. Yeah.
Again, you have 3 daughters. I have 2 daughters.
Your kids are great.
Girl dads. Yeah, no, love them. They're all right. I'll keep them.
I asked them if they miss basketball. They said they sure do.
Yeah, my wife played basketball. My wife's a 1,000-point scorer. She hates when I say it. And the joke is that hopefully they get her talent and my height, because if they get my talent, all my JCC guys are gonna laugh. But I still try to play basketball. Still have hoop dreams. I just got a hoop COVID purchase. Just got a hoop on the garage. Trying to encourage the girls.
Flat or no?
It's got a little slope to it. 3-pointers are gonna be downhill. You got to throw them extra hard.
Yeah.
But just to dribble and shoot, get outside a little bit.
Yeah.
We have hoop dreams.
Your wife is great. I still have hoop dreams. Can you believe it? I should go work on some stuff. But it's interesting.
No, we miss it. We should be drafting right now for the girls' league. My wife is the head coach. I'm the assistant coach. We coached against Rick. We coached against Mary Faye. We coached against Austin's team. He doesn't coach, but his kid's on the team, Dave Austin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was going to be a big...
He's the buddy. Sullivan?
Yeah.
Sully?
Yeah, he coached with me.
Yeah, he's your buddy.
Coached me. Great guy. John's a great guy.
Yeah, he's Austin's buddy, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got to tell Dave Austin how much... We said Dave Fresh Ink. We
just Dave Fresh Ink. Just throw it out there. He's a good guy.
I think fantastic. So, and the other one I think is big to have teachers who have their kind of eyes in the schools to know. I mean, it's not just somebody reading about something in the paper. You guys, you're going to, when, or you hear, or the grapevine is there. And we should say something good about teachers this year, right?
It's
teachers
not easy.
They had to make a big decision to do the thing that they do, felt the risk, felt the obligation and the risk, and had to try to find a niche in there so they could do their thing. Big year. The teachers, we kind of shook their foundations a little and asked them to do things they didn't go in there for a lot of risk. They went in there to be, it's to help.
A lot of kids, there's a risk involved. I mean, kids, the masks may fall down, and who knows how many, they're going home to a bigger family, and who knows, the family have to go to work. And we tried splitting the classes into A and B groups. Yeah. And it was difficult because I'm teaching A, or red, we'll call them red and blue, that's what they were. Red week. They would get out at 1, but from 1 to 3, I had to meet with the blue group who was home during the day. Yeah. So I had to give blue group that was home work to do to keep them occupied and learning from 8 to 1. And then I had to follow up from 1 to 3 with them, send the kids home that I had that day with homework that they need to return the next day. It was challenging because at 1 o'clock you want to decompress. Oh, we had the day with the red group, but no, I have 20 minutes. I have to bring it with energy for the kids that have been home all day. So you really want to, how you been? What'd you do? How's lunch? We ended always with a show and tell, or your dog, or your nostrils.
Yeah. So, and you can see both sides because you have the kids.
And I have my daughters at home, which are so sufficient, independent.
Oh, are they really?
Oh my God, I'm amazed they're even my children sometimes.
Oh, that's great. No,
they get up at 7 in the morning.
I'm not just some families. Somebody takes the primary role, and my wife took the brunt of trying to make sure kids are on track. And I really just thought I noticed it a lot easier to get off track when you haven't seen your teacher in 10 days.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, the younger kids, they need someone to keep them on task, redirections, to motivate them, to be there. Their attention span is only 2 to 3 minutes, so you got to make sure they're staying on task. That's why in-person learning is better for elementary school. Sometimes your middle schoolers and your high schools can go out and be independent and learn on their own and, watch a video, write a paper. But these little guys, it's only so much you could do. They're not going to, let me go read and then follow up answering questions.
Yeah, not easy. But, and then I think, without a doubt, we're hoping this year is a great, and we get back to real normal, not new normal, real normal, not new normal. Yeah, and I think, I was at conflict with the thinking to be afraid, whether it's reasonable or not, was hard for me. In chiropractic, we talk about how, it's life without fear. You don't have to get your worst health case scenario all the time. And so even I make the joke that, twins don't die of the same disease on the same day. So lots of times we think it's your genes or it's your this or your that. And we were always taught to work on expression. Which genes are you going to express? What behaviors do you do so that you get the right or the best outcome? And so to have this kind of like dictated, this must be the path for you. Very, very, very challenging. It messed with my brain a little bit. And I said, well, what do we want to talk about? There's a balance between, take your vitamins and don't take your vitamins and think you're not going to get COVID. Like we were literally getting texts from the organization saying, hey, as a chiropractor, you cannot tell people that these things will help your immune system. I'm like, so we always told them to do things for their immune system, but this will be the year we don't tell them to do something for your immune system. Yeah. I'm not a big censorship guy. I'm a little bit like, you kind of got to speak your truth. Yeah. You don't speak your truth in a way that's irresponsible, but you can't, but the censorship thing, I was like, but really we got a ton of kind of guidance about you're going to create a big problem for yourself if you tell anything it helps. So there were chiropractors who would say, we always said, listen, your body's working better, you'll fight things better. You might notice you get less colds. You might notice that you sleep better. It removes stress. If you just lower people's stress, don't they sleep better? That's what that's your dream, by the way. You shifted from your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, to your parasympathetic nervous system. And you dream because you're sleeping and healing in that deeper state.
Well, sleep is key.
Awesome, right?
And exercise is key.
But I did something in a little video of mine the other day. I said, oh man, it's such a year going into New Year's. Make sure you do your New Year's resolutions. Put your health at the top of the list so that you're building this awesome version of you. And I'm meeting a lot of people right now saying, man, I'm in the worst shape of my life, and I haven't. Oh, we got it, right?
Yeah.
We got it. So we got to start moving. And whatever you did before, that you make your little list. Grab a piece of paper. 10 things that I already know that I should be doing on a daily basis to be a healthier version of myself. By the way, if you don't email me, I'll send it to you.
I'm a big list guy.
Yeah, be a list guy. I got a happy and healthy list form at the office.
Yeah.
15 things that you already know that you should do on a daily basis if you want to be a healthier version of yourself. No new information required.
What's on there?
No, you got to.
Oh, you make your own.
You make your own. And
individualized plan.
It's absolutely, and it says on there. I do a lot of it tongue in cheek, but it's awesome because it's made by you, for you, and only you know. So you make a list of the 15 things you already know that if you did them on a regular basis, you'd be healthier. And then in the next column, you do 15 things that you already know that if you did them on a regular basis, you'd be happier. What if I say to you, I love to watch movies, man. I make movies that make me feel good. I said, when's the last time you watched them? I haven't watched one in a while. Put it on your list. Do it on your list. And then you read your list. And just reading your list, magic happens. You start to do your stuff, right?
And
so if you read...
almost feels good when you can check it off, too. You feel accomplished.
I'm doing my stuff. I'm doing my stuff.
I did this. And you're like...
I got a food list, like an anti-inflammatory eating list I read all the time. So that you eat your stuff on your list. What should I be eating? Read your list. Are you eating the stuff on your list? If you do it, the next thing you know, your elbow's not bugging you when you work out. Yeah. Your knee's not something when you run. Why? Because you're working your stuff. So that's my kind of vision for 2021, where we're saying to everybody, don't forget what you always did. The new normal doesn't have to include the unhealthy stuff, right? Yeah. You got to find a way. And then maybe the mild weather, relatively mild weather. We're not getting a bunch of 16-inch snowstorms in the last couple of years. Maybe it means we're supposed to get a better coat and take a walk after dinner. I don't know, but something where we're creating that awesome outcome.
Definitely got to move. We got an elliptical for inside. We got the hoop for outside. We have a dog that we have to walk every once in a while, which is great. You know, makes you go outside. So exercise. What's on 5 things on your list for Rick? What do you got?
For me,
exercise.
It's all basics. Yeah. So the workouts have not been as good. Alice will tell you because she whooped me the other day. But get that regular kind of. I'm 53, so I need to make sure that I'm not losing muscle mass. That when you lift heavy things, when you lift heavy things for guys, bone densities, testosterone levels, we need some of that going in.
You need to press and pull.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of a believer that what I do, I try to motivate myself going forward. So if I'm awesome in my 50s, then I'm going to be really good in my 60s. So if I'm awesome, so I got to be awesome in my 50s so that in my 60s I'm great, right? Yeah. So that physically, yes, right? The other one is I think there's between elections and pandemics, that mindset. So you got to recognize, I got a couple of funny things that I do. If you ever see me with a rubber band on my wrist.
Snap it?
I'm snapping. Every negative thought. Every negative thought. You don't have to wear it too long. You start saying, oh no, you switch. But then that becomes that visualization that I'm working on.
Keep smiling or get snapped.
Yeah, keep smiling or get snapped. And then you're picturing, but when I picture my day, I picture myself in it in a great state. That's my visualization. My visualization is not I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and this is my day. I picture my state of being. And that's what's awesome about getting adjusted too. It shifts your state of being. I made a video that said, what happened to the Oz? And I think it's on my website. What happened to the Oz? You know that for a long time, I adjust you, and everybody... And then in the middle of all the stress, July and August, it's getting entrenched. I'm adjusting, and they're like, thanks, have a great day. I'm like, what happened to that release? Oh, yeah. You got to let it go. So that's the thing I'm visualizing, a lot of release, a lot of let it go, a lot of positivity. It's almost like, the diamond shines if you take the dirt off it. No. See, your default self is like a child. Happy, healthy, awesome, energetic, full of life, right? Yeah. Chiropractic's a vitalistic philosophy. It has the word vida in it. You're alive. You heal. You came from 2 cells, half cells, one mom, one dad, turned into 400 trillion cells. Some beautiful intelligence, life inside your body did that. When you pass... By the way, go look up life. Really hard to define life. Really hard. Usually it becomes defined by the absence, what happens when you die, but the start of life and all those things. Life, wow, what does that mean? It means that when you pass, something leaves. And at the moment of death, all the cells are there, all the organs are there, it's all there. but life is a thing. So more life, letting life shine through, swimming in that, letting it express itself as a unique version of you. Oh, if I can just get my head in that space, and as I adjust you or take care of you, it's all about what? Getting rid of all this stuff so that you shines through.
I'm an eye guy. When you adjusted me one time, and I was just like, oh, and I just want to lay there. They like roll over. I'm like, nope, not yet. I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah, somebody this morning said, oh God. And I went, that's not bad. Yesterday somebody did Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, all three, one adjustment. So yeah, you let go. But see, when you let go, what's there? The beauty is that underneath all that shines forth some great stuff. Great stuff. So we can get rid of our stuff. I don't know if this is a great story, but I'll tell you, in the current, a couple years ago when nobody was buying the newspaper, they had those articles, the 200-year-old, what was on the front page 200 years ago, because the current's so old. And there was an article about a Captain something Isaacs, and he said the little ships were beating the big ships in like the War of 1812, and he brought the ships in. They cleaned all the barnacles off the big ships, put them back in the water, and now they could maneuver and keep up with the little ships that were beating them. And I said, barnacles, what are my barnacles? I got to get rid of all my barnacles. And the idea that if you get rid of your stuff and your core self shines through, oh man, it's just
I like
amazing.
that. Get rid of the barnacles.
Get rid of the barnacles, yeah. Cool. So you see your stuff in everything, right? If you have a way of thinking, that's called confirmation bias, right? Whatever you believe, you'll see in everything you read and see. My daughter just bought herself a Toyota Prius. My Grace is a go-getter. Has a job, works at Barb's Pizza, makes the money, gets what she wants now. Bought herself a car. Nice. Okay, so great. 17 years old. So all I see is silver Priuses everywhere I go. Right? You start seeing the things. But if you're all about health, wellness, positivity, what's awesome, guess what you see everywhere you go?
Same thing.
You see all that stuff because that's what you're about.
Almost you get what you give in return. What about diet? You eat meat? Are you a vegetarian?
Grace is a vegetarian. And so she's got us eating a lot more vegetarian meals, and it's kind of fun because when I'm with her, I eat vegetarian. But we had times, where I have a master's degree in nutrition from the middle
of the 90s. One of my daughters.
So
my Mila has been a vegetarian for almost 2.5 years.
That's amazing.
I'm a vegetarian since last November.
Hey, I'm a
year plus.
How do you like it?
I thought you were going to mention that with inflammation of your knees and all that. I thought you were going to mention that. I watched a Netflix special, Game Changers. On how athletes do it.
Okay.
And there was a time where I ran. I was a runner for stress release, and I did a half marathon, full marathon, and I thought recently my knees were like, I'm never going to run again. Okay. It was the worst. I was walking around summer camp going, oh man, I can't play ball. And then I don't know if it's mental, but I went vegetarian, and I'm like, my knees feel great. My bones feel great. I don't know if it's, again, mental, coincidental, but I feel like it's working.
There's absolutely some science behind it, but the heavy meat-based diets can be acidic, and there was some alkalinity diet stuff that was huge for a long time. And you're supposed to have a different response in your joints if your body's the pH is slightly more alkaline than if it is a little more acidic.
Yeah, something with hormones and something in the meat. I don't know. Again, on this Netflix.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and nutrition's one of those things. I know that we talk a lot about science these days, and people believe in science or don't believe in science. But I was taught to be a scientific skeptic. Yeah. You're supposed to say, "Prove it to me," and then I'll believe it. So I don't really accept everything. But and nutritionally, it messes you up because nutritionally, there's a study for every.
Oh yeah, it's a
theory.
Spin.
Every thought has its studies behind it. Yeah. So it's not that I don't believe studies. It's just that.
Well, the documentary was written by a guy who owns like a vegetarian company. So
he's awesome. He's good.
But my daughter, that was by choice. She did that in 5th grade. Comes home and is like, I'm going to be a vegetarian.
Oh, wow.
7th grade, still a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And so most of our meals were based around that anyway.
Yeah, I like it.
So
it's got to be good for you. It's got to be good for you. I would say that certain people, you got to be a good vegetarian though. It can't mean that you switch to, a
lot of carb out. You can't. Like just bread. That's not.
Or
good.
cheese or something like that. You can't turn yourself into mac and cheese. But yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've cheated. My wife makes this amazing meatloaf. I had to try a bite. You don't
hold yourself to those standards.
My mother-in-law's pot roast. I had to try a bite. Thanksgiving, I had to try a bite. But I haven't had a burger, which is kind of crazy. I haven't had a steak. I miss those, and bacon smell, amazing.
Everybody says everything's better with bacon on it, but you got to try to. I try to go.
You better bacon up that bacon.
I try to have one. I try to have one slice if I have a thing. A diet nutrition's huge, right? Nutrition. They say we dig our graves with our teeth, right? So no, I think it's important, and it becomes whatever you're excited. Here's another way I would tell you: whatever you're excited about or whatever you're drawn to, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your thing, and then you follow that passion and you do it that way. For me to try to turn somebody who doesn't want to be a vegetarian to a vegetarian, it's a waste of time. But and it's kind of interesting because that's kind of what I tell people who come to the office. I say, if you like it and it's good and this is going to help you and you know you need it, please come. And if you don't like it and you don't want it and it's the last thing on the planet that you think you need, please don't come, okay?
Yeah.
Because if you just follow that path, you're going to be better off than trying to do it
I
that
wish
way.
there was a table we could do a show and tell, a live adjustment.
Do a little something
It's
to
a
adjust you.
little
You'll have to
not
add
as
it as a
durable.
little. You'll have to add it as a little
Clip at the end.
A little clip at the something. But yeah,
Lay out on the table.
YouTube's
Rick
making
right
guys
now.
famous right now. They put the microphones on, and it's all about the crack.
You're not a
It's all
fan
about
of
the
that
noise.
though, right? You didn't like that
You
because
know
I asked
what?
you about
I
that.
actually got my daughter sent me one yesterday. I thought the guy was a
With
pretty
the
good
strap?
adjuster. I don't like the strap.
That's kinda
too
weird.
Much, no. I wasn't taught that. I was taught that an adjustment is a specific thing. You have to feel somebody's spine or look at an x-ray or find a way to do a specific adjustment so that adjustment does what they need. I didn't learn that going to the chiropractor means make the most noise possible come out of somebody's spine and say, pretty cool noise, huh? That's not really that's not what I learned. That's not what I learned. But no, the adjustments make noise. If you move a bone, it makes noise. But they put special microphones near their spine. They're playing up the noise. I didn't learn it that way. I'm trying to be, when you're getting older, right? You want to hold on to your ideas, and I'm trying to be open to that. So is there anything, I was thinking about this morning, is there anything good to letting them talk about? Listen, I went to chiropractic college, a guy named Carl Service Cleveland. Now, young people don't know that name, but there's an old expression that says, Service is my middle name. I think all the salesmen used to use it, right? Service is my middle name. His Service was literally his middle name. And it was literally his father's middle name, and it was literally his grandfather's middle name. Carl Service Cleveland III was my college president.
What profession?
And he told me that if somebody comes to visit your office and they use the right words, it means you took the time to teach them about chiropractic. You didn't just do chiropractic to them because it was good for you. You told them what it is and how it works. So that's why I've always had in the back of my head, and I can't get rid of it, that we're really not supposed to call it crack. We're supposed to talk about adjusting, and then an adjustment moves the bone in a particular direction. It just doesn't make noise.
I'll text my coworker. I'm like,
you
want to get a cracking after school?
yeah. So I'm trying to open up. Should I just go with it? It just feels like I'm lowering my standards so much. But that's,
Don't get it cracking.
Yeah, but I think there's some guys on YouTube with 1 million views because they're all they say is,
Got to get a TikTok channel, Dr. Rick. TikTok.
I think I got 153 people saw my last video.
On what?
Instagram or
Are
on
you
the
on
office
Instagram?
or on YouTube. But you know what I started doing
Dr.
that too.
Rick Araya Chiropractor on Instagram?
I think Instagram, dr.rick.life. But I'll tell you this. Yeah, my phone number, by the way, my phone number has been 561-LIFE for 20 years. 561-LIFE. Why? Because it's a vitalistic practice. It's all about health, healing, and you healing yourself.
5433 spells life.
5433.
Oh, yeah.
5433. So just fun.
Look at you, 561 life.
561 life.
Justadjustments.com, goodchiro.net.
Tried to figure out the shortest one that was available.
Very cool.
Awesome, yeah.
Well, you're a big community guy.
There's a great girl, Joanna, that I met at The Edge when she signed me up, and she has her own nonprofit like you. And I said, for people to be doing nonprofits, charity work, awesome. The Knights of Columbus at church count up your hours, and there's years where I do 800-900 hours of community service between the coaching and the other stuff. Yeah. But I don't market. I just go meet people and then do the stuff, and then people. No, meaning that I don't put an ad in the paper. I don't do anything. But if you know your community, somebody thinks chiropractor, they come see me. It's really nice. Somebody told me. Do you know Kathy Coro, the Pia family? She says, Eric Feeney, he reminds me like you. You guys remind me of each other. Yeah. So she said, we remind each other of each other. She says, because
medical?
Yeah. Because we have.
I had her kid.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, great.
Oh, wonderful family.
Wonderful family. And she told me one time that we remind each other of
Oh,
that.
come on.
And I was like younger.
Kat,
and
I
I
remind you. No,
and
I'm
I thought, yeah, because she says the positivity and the trying to do stuff and being out in the community. So hey, same as you,
Thank
man.
you so much,
Same like
Kathy.
you.
I take that as a compliment.
We'll tell her to see the
compare with
video.
you. Yeah, her daughter's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great kids,
Great
family.
Dad
overall.
teachers, beautiful family.
Yep, music, right?
Music,
Musically
yeah.
talented family.
Yeah, they do their thing. I laugh every time they do the videos on the internet. Wonderful people.
Oh, the group effort. Yeah, great kid, great student, great family. You know.
Yeah. So same.
Well, thank you for all your community service and your donation for Friends of Feeney and your
Keep us on the list.
and of course, and even you're changing tires when you're not supposed to. So
Yeah.
be a good friend. That's our mantra. We're winter hats. You're gonna get a winter hat. Be a good friend. Winter hat. You're a good friend, man.
Yeah, I appreciate.
I think
that.
you should get a hat.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and a friend of humanity, right?
Yep.
Friend of humanity. Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing. And yeah, you guys out in that cold night in the rain selling those little raffle tickets over there. You know,
You came by our next event. Speaking of which, we saw each other at Gastropark.
Yeah.
We were doing a toy drive after Sock Stars. We're having another event at Gastropark. Your
It's a great
recyclable
spot.
cans and your recyclable bottles, please start saving them. January 23rd, it's going to be a Saturday. We're going to have a box truck or a dumpster, and you just very COVID friendly. Come by, throw in your bag of cans. We're going to go right around the corner by Home Depot. There's a redemption center. They're going to give us, they'll count them up, and all this will be going towards Friends of Feeney.
So for the
Save a
next
can,
3 weeks, save
help
your
a
cans.
friend. Help a friend. Save a can, help a friend. Thank you, Gastropark. Tate down there is great.
I've been hearing nice things.
You ever go there?
Yeah, just when I saw you, my wife's been wanting to go.
Oh,
She
yeah.
loves the trucks, but then Jordan at Hartford Fence
You got a
was telling me
burrito.
that Tate's awesome too.
What's Jordan? Who's that?
Jordan at Hartford Fence is Jordan
Oh, yeah.
Conover,
Nice.
and he was saying that he's just talking about how cool the guy Tate is. So I
Yeah,
just
seemed cool.
reputations.
That's right. Yeah, it was a terrible day. But we still collected over 150 toys, raised $500+ So
I love it.
we'll see you at the next event.
Yeah.
You adjusting later? I'll come see you on the way home.
So yeah,
You're on my way home.
Thursdays, not all the chiropractors. We used to make jokes. Thursday's the National Chiropractic Day off. But guys don't want to work 6 days a week.
But that's
and
funny.
Everybody
but
works
today
Saturday
what's
morning.
today?
So today's Wednesday. But then tomorrow I'm closed. But today I'm there. Yeah. And then we got the holiday on Friday. So an extra.
So like hairdressers got Monday off.
Yeah.
Chiropractors had
a lot
Thursday.
Of them, a lot of them have Thursday off.
That's so funny.
Thursday.
And like Blackie's Hot Dog in Waterberry
It's
is
a great
like
spot.
it's like Fridays. Like why are you eating a hot dog?
The old Catholic Fridays. You
That's
didn't
right.
eat on Fridays.
Yeah, that's why.
Didn't eat on
That's why.
Not
Very
just
good.
during Lent. Not just during
That
Lent.
was my Waterberry trivia for you.
Yeah, I love it. Blackies. I lived up the
Are
street.
you Blackies or Frankies?
No, I know Frankie's from Norwalk. Swanky, yeah, Frankie's didn't they come out of Norwalk and they had a couple
I
of
think they
spots?
started in Waterberry.
Oh, they did
I
start.
think
See,
so.
you know,
But
I
he
don't
spread
know.
out. What's his name? I know the whole fam. Good people. Frankie's, but they went to West Haven. They went to Norwalk. They go they branch out. Big Franks.
Well, it's not a good recommendation for you, but there's a beautiful lady named Maggie who sells hot dogs out of a truck, right next to where the Staples used to be on. Is that Connecticut Boulevard where the car dealers are in East Hartford? And she's there all year long until she's probably still there. She probably might have been done now. She might have finished up.
Yeah, I've had one.
Yeah, she's just a great lady. I went to see her with my
The
my
car
cocktail-
dealership with the huge flag.
Yeah,
she's right under that.
Right underneath that, in an old '30s Ford.
Yeah,
and she was. I went there with my daughter Katya when she was really little, like 2003. I don't eat that many hot dogs. I've only been back there since 2003. I've been back there 6 times. Every time I walk in, still remembers me. Hey, how are you? How's the family? How's the practice? Just an amazing lady.
That's the connection. That's what will make you go back.
Oh, what a beautiful lady! Yeah.
That's why I like going to see you. You're a good guy. We got the relationship, the rapport. You're positive.
And you bring Nicole.
Keep smiling.
Sometimes.
Yeah, my wife goes. My coworkers go. The school secretary goes. My neighbors are going.
Got to bring Ed.
Ed. We'll get Ed
He
there.
sent his mom and dad. Yeah,
nice.
Very good. So yeah, I think amazing stuff, and I love the community. I love the community-based stuff. We're kind of a big town, 60-something thousand people, but it's kind of funny. Everybody gets their little niche, they get their little area and their groups.
West Hartford is a special place. I'm so happy. My wife's like, let's move to West Hartford. She's from East Granby. I'm from Waterberry. I'm like, I don't want to go there. Now I'm like, it's the best decision we have ever made.
Yeah.
Through meeting the school system is
Yeah.
number one. They only hire the best teachers.
Yeah.
And but I mean, couldn't even be happier with my children's teachers. My daughters love education. That's due to West Hartford. And you said Spanish. They're like, their Spanish is getting phenomenal.
Yeah, it kind of works
Spanish
out.
is,
Kind of
and
works
they're
out.
playing instruments. They're doing Spanish. They're doing art. I mean, it's an amazing school system. I couldn't be happier to be a part of it. And then, like you say, community based.
Yeah.
Donut Crazy is great. West Hartford Chamber of Commerce is great. It's great. You're all right. You're great too.
We shared a donut for all full disclosure. We didn't want to eat a whole donut, but we wanted to taste a donut.
Great donuts, right?
Great donuts. Awesome stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. This was episode 9. Dr. Rick. You'll see him on Talcott Road, 860-561-LIFE.
Life. Keep smiling.
That's very cool. Keep smiling.
Keep smiling.
Thank you, Fresh Ink.
Turn around. You got to turn around?
Oh, yeah. Let's see it.
Those are the old keep smiling cards. That's the whole thing. Just keep smiling. Right on.
This wouldn't be possible without Dave from Direct Line Media. Thank you so
Dave.
much. Go see Talcott Road. Look for the yellow flags. Dr. Rick, great guy. And you might see his yellow car whooping around town. Thank you. Weehaw. See you guys later.
Thank you.